Hey cushion crushers and P-backs punishers, EDDBUD here. I have another video for you today of mystery and intrigue. And, of course, running shoes. Today it's the long run shoe test for the ADIDAS Adizero ADIOS 6. Let's party like it's 2021. Okay, so stats for today include a very early start to avoid some of those warmer temperatures. 12 miles or 19.3 kilometers, whatever your preference is. An average pace of 7 minutes 49 per mile, which is 4 minutes 51 per kilometer. I kept 9 of those miles around about 8 minutes per mile, which is 4 minutes 59 per kilometer, and I threw in 3 miles a bit later on in the second half of the run at round about my target half marathon pace, which is 6 minutes 51 per mile, so that's 4 minutes 16 per kilometre. Same old elevation here. If you're a regular viewer, you will know that route I typically use my long runs, so a little bit of elevation in the first 6 miles. It's pretty much all uphill. Keeping the heart rate nice and low today. I was really impressed with what I got there. Around about 136 beats per minute, a good 1 hour 7 minutes in my aerobic heart rate level, and 19 minutes in the threshold level, which is from those 3 faster miles later on. So a good old workout to round off the week and get back to 50 miles as well. It feels good. So how did the shoes perform on today's long run? Is it an disaster or a torsion triumph? Oh, upper first. Upper wise, the Adizero for me with my normal width feet is perfect. It's sort of glove-like, really. I have been quite surprised that a lot of people have found it narrow. I don't know whether maybe in my very specific size the last is just that little bit wider, perhaps. I don't know, but yeah, my UK 11.5, it's just spot on. Used the slightly thinner Nike race socks today purely because I knew it was going to be warm out there, but roomy enough with 0 rubbing issues. No changes in the upper lockdown over the miles whatsoever. It was as consistent as James Milner. No slipping in the heel, and yeah, I kind of understand why people don't really like the look of the shoe. I guess it looks like a older style, more traditional sort of shoe, but it's got it where it counts. It confirms my view today after that run that the shoe is true to size in terms of Adidas sizing. I mean, do you remember that the UK 11.5 is a US 12? So be very careful if you are going to purchase the shoe. Do a bit of homework beforehand and you will reap the rewards. Found it quite breathable actually today. Didn't get too warm. There's very little there I'd change about the upper whatsoever. It's kind of perfect for me, which is probably why I gave it that high score when I reviewed it. Remember, you can really help the channel out by subscribing and also clicking that bell for notifications when we launch those new videos. If you're enjoying the video as well, give it a thumbs up like. Midsole now. Midsole wise, the varied paces in today's runs tested out the versatility of the shoe, and it really won through. At that endurance type pace, the shoe feels really good, and it rewards the runner from hitting that Light Strike Pro section in the midsole. When you hit that sweet spot in the midfoot there, it really does feel nice. I find the ADIOS 6 a shoe that makes it very easy to increase the cadence when you need to. When I went up through the gears doing those faster miles later in the run, it really wasn't hard at all. It's kind of like having that car with the extra gear that you rarely get to use around town, but when you're out on the open road, you can really put your foot down. You can burn some dust and shout, "Eat my rubber." Very enjoyable actually running at threshold pace in these shoes, I have to say. I did some sessions earlier in the week where I did much longer periods of threshold pace, and yeah, superb. I think the great thing about the shoe is that Adidas have managed to retain some sort of feel of a lower stack shoe, but it's still cushioned without the removal of the stability. I really seek that in a midsole unit, and it's got all of those things. The balance is just right. It's like they've made the best cake ever, but it's not a cake, it's a shoe. Don't get confused. The more I run in the shoe, the more intrigue I have for the Boston 10, which is going to feature even more Light Strike Pro material in the midsole, albeit with the additional stack height there, which might put a few people off. Perhaps that shoe will be one that can go maybe a little further, could be used for that marathon distance. I'm not sure I'd want to run a marathon in this one. It was fine going up to 12 miles. You could easily run a half marathon race in it. Would I want to go further? I mean, it was comfortable today. I didn't think about the shoe once really. I think I will do an even longer run in the shoes, maybe in the next couple of weeks, to see how it fares up towards maybe 16 or 17 miles. Adidas certainly don't just throw things together. They don't just get their ideas and chuck it in a big melting pot. There's always craft and thought in terms of their process, and that's certainly there within this shoe. Outsole now. Outsole's holding up really well actually. No real signs of any wear. There's some aesthetic discoloration on the rubber. That torsion plate's certainly taken a bit of a beating. It's been graunched and gouged a little bit. Graunched basically sort of means you've sort of whacked or grazed something against another surface. It's a special Budzinski word. John Budzinski will know that one. Graunch. In fact, I graunched my finger earlier, John. Just a few rebel rocks there have gouged the torsion plate, but the midsole material's absolutely fine. At least the stuff that's exposed, of which there is a fair bit here. Zero rubber degradation. On that smooth tarmac today and the concrete pavements, it certainly delivers the traction that everybody's looking for. If you want a road-based outsole, then it's got everything that you need there, and nothing that you don't. I think value-wise, for 110 Earth credits, there's not really anything else out there that's quite like this shoe. I mean, it's sub 300 grams in my UK size 11.5, and a worthy addition to the rotation, though I would suggest if you have a wide foot, it may not work for you. It's just not enough there. Tongue padding and the lockdown around the foot really does excel this shoe into another level. Like an even better Adizero Pro with more cushion, only a touch more weight, and of course a much cheaper price. With that Boston 10 coming in soon at 130 Earth credits, Adidas are certainly applying the heat to Nike and a few of the other brands. It could be a big year for them. Will we see more podium finishes in Adidas shoes? I think it's a little bit too early to predict that, but Chriswell does predict that we will see more pairs of the Adios 6 on runners' feet. There, I said it. So do I regret giving it such a high score on my initial review? Absolutely not. Still absolutely loving the shoe. If you're on the fence about getting it, guys, I mean, there's so many codes that you can pick it up for around about £80 or something right now, so it is worth getting. Hopefully it will be out in America very soon. I know that the Boston 10's out in a couple of different territories right now, but this one only seems to be in a few places, which is a bit odd. Adidas certainly operate in a very interesting way. Let me know your views and thoughts on the Adios 6, guys, down in the comments. Good morning, guys. EDDBUD here. So out for the long run today on the Sunday. I think it's about 20 to 7. Got out nice and early before it gets too warm. I'm not the only one out though. There's an interesting fella doing some sort of juggling and stuff back up the path there, listening to some banging Euro techno music. So yeah, he looked very pleased with himself. He looked like he was having a fun time. So going to keep it nice and sustainable the first 6 miles, and then switch it up a little bit for the 6 miles coming back. So in some sections at half marathon goal pace. It's a good temperature right now though. I think I've got it right today. So testing the Adidas Adios 6 today on the long run. See what the long run shops are like. Got a feeling it's going to be a good one. I've enjoyed the shoe at pretty much all paces, and I don't see it being any different today. So just coming up on 3 miles, keeping it nice and sustainable for once. It is warm already. I can feel that warm sun on the back. Definitely a day for the Halo sweatband. It's hardly anybody about. Even the animals haven't woken up yet. It's only maniacs like me that are out this time of day. Now I normally have the Coros watch on my left hand set with cadence, heart rate and kilometre pace, like average kilometre pace, and I've forgotten it today. It's charging, so turns out that I'm really useless at judging pace by effort, so I've been going too quick. So I eased off the last mile. I want to try and keep it at 8 minutes per mile pace up to mile 6, and yeah, I wasn't doing that. Oh, okay, so gonna alternate towards half marathon goal pace and then an easy mile to get me back home. Total of 12 miles, so I just managed to get in 6:55
which is alright, considering we're towards the end of the week. Legs are a wee bit tired, so I'm going to enjoy this nice, easy mile now. So the second faster mile was good, at 6:57, which I'm happy with. I've just done a quick double back to take advantage of some of the shade. So it's starting to get warm, I just don't like the heat. Time for one last faster mile, and then we've got an easy one home, and I'll need some Weetabix and some coffee, so I'm really hungry now. Woo! 6:51, spot on. All right, literally perfect mile back as well. Got the distance spot on, so it'll be 12 miles in the bag. Right, let's coast in now.
A quick musical interlude for you. I can't believe it, but it's 10 years since Noel Gallagher released one of his debut albums. Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds is an album that I can remember really vividly. I can remember driving around doing certain things that happened in my life actually around that time, and I was listening to this album almost exclusively. I can't believe it's 10 years though. It can't be right, but it is. Everybody's on the Run is a fantastic way to kick off an album like this, and I love the stomp-in chorus on Dream On as well. AKA What a Life is one of those tracks that transcends different genres of music. There's dancey elements in there, there's sort of indie pop elements in there. Really great song, very memorable. I think the track AKA Broken Arrow may be some sort of nod to Neil Young. Obviously Neil Young's ranch I think was called the Broken Arrow. I know Noel Gallagher's a big Neil Young fan, so maybe that's the case. Absolutely go and check this one out if you haven't heard it before, or perhaps you'd forgotten about it. Noel Gallagher and his High Flying Birds. Right cats, it's time for me to skedaddle. I think there's some football on and my presence has been requested. If you haven't done so already guys, it really helps the channel out if you hit that subscribe button, and also click the bell for notifications when we launch those new videos for you. And you can help the channel out too by giving this video a thumbs up like and sharing it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you